Folks, welcome back to Flatirons Tuning. We're here in the shop. We've got the coilovers on the VB here, and we realized that this is the perfect opportunity to do kind of like a basic coilover install guide. Things that you want to check, things that you want to set, that sort of thing when you're putting on a set of coilovers. So we're going to dive into that real quick at the front. Just want to say, if you like what we're doing with the channel, if you like the content that we're putting out, please do like and subscribe to the channel. Check out our merch down below, and head over to flatironstuning.com because anything that we have there for you, that support goes a long way to helping us keep coming back and making this content for you. So let's talk about coilovers. So once you've kind of got everything on the car and it's, everything is kind of finger tight, it's in place, there's things you want to check. You want to check and set the ride height. You want to check and set your camber, and then you want to check and set your toe before, like if you want to take an initial test drive before you take your car to an alignment shop. We, fortunately, because we set up cars enough, we've got a set of these hub stands. You absolutely don't need a set of hub stands to do it. It's just like, especially for setting ride height, makes it a lot easier because you don't have to take the wheels on and off every time you make an adjustment. There's some markings on these too that help check toe and that sort of thing. So like if you really want to get into this and really want to play with the setup of your car, getting a set of hub stands can certainly have its own set of benefits. But again, you can do all of this just, to set your ride height, you're probably going to have to, take the wheels on and off, and that's okay. All right, now, so the car is down on the ground. It's basically sitting on the hub stands. So we're going to start with ride height. So what you would do is measure one side to the next. And this is where, if you've taken the measurements, before you put the coilovers on, this is where you would compare, like, are you higher than where you started with the initial suspension? Are you lower? That sort of thing. But then we want to look at left and right. So let's come over and look at the other side. Now in this case, we happen to be pretty much where we want to be. We're at about 27¼ inches from this point to the top on both sides. So that's good. If we're level, then the question is, are we the height that we want to be, and is it the same height left to right? Now, what would you do if you wanted to adjust the height? So in this case, we're okay. But let me show you how you would adjust it. So what kind of tools do you have to change the ride height? Well, with a set of coilovers, you're going to have one or two tools to change that ride height. A lot of rally coilovers and stuff, they're just single adjustable. You can only move the spring perch. And so what that means is you can move the spring seat up to raise the car, spring seat down to lower the car. If all you can move is the spring perch, raising the car, you lose droop travel. And if you lower the car by moving the spring perch down, then you lose compression travel. So there's a balance to be struck there. So a good starting point would be to basically keep this bottom spring seat loose so that you're not pre-tensioning the spring at all. You're just going to get the natural compression of the spring. You cinch this up so that this wouldn't move. Then you would loosen this bracket here that fixes the strut, or that holds the strut to this bracket. Get your handy dandy coilover wrenches, tighten this up just a little bit. There. So then you can grab the whole strut and spin it, and that's going to raise the car. You can spin it back to lower the car, and then when you're done, you tighten this back down. So you might have to go up and down with the car a couple times. Always take measurements. The other thing that can help here, especially here where we can raise and lower the strut independently, is you take a measurement, of the height, and you need to lower it 1/4 inch. So then you can put the tape measure on a fixed point on the strut, like this red ring here, and then you go down and you measure the bracket itself, and you know what that distance is, and then you spin the strut body down that 1/4 inch, and 9 times out of 10 that'll get you really close to what your target is. Just basically picking a fixed point that you can measure from, so you make the adjustment and see if you moved the car enough. That way you can hopefully get it right within 1 or 2 goes. Again, it's easy with these kind of hub stands, but if you're putting the wheel on and off, like doing all those measurements, it's going to help you make the change quickly and more accurately. All right, so now once you get the ride height set, again, make sure you're checking left and right. Make sure that they're the same. Once you get that dialed in, let's talk about camber. So your camber is going to be adjustable from the factory just with the eccentric bolt up top here. If you have a camber just top hat, you can use that as well. The hub stands make it really easy because you got this big flat surface to measure the angle. So like right now, basically we have no negative camber. On the other side, we've got 1 degree of negative camber up front. And so if I wanted to match that, what I would do, see if I can get all of this to happen at once. But basically you'd rotate this top eccentric bolt around until there's about 1 degree, give or take. Again, this is just enough to get us to the point where we can drive the car, but then you tighten it down. Once you're happy with the camber, then you would set toe, and you could do that all the way around. All right, so now we're going to talk about toe. So basically, are the wheels pointed in towards one another, or are they pointed away from each other? So with these hub stands, it makes it easier to measure, but again, it's just a measurement that you can take. So these have got these slots for 2 tape measures, and if I pull these tight, we can look down and basically see what the difference is between each. And in this case, what it looks like is we have a little bit of toe out. So this is on the back measurement, it's about 69.5 inches to that mark. And up front here, we're about 69 3/4, which means that, again, you have to make sure that the steering wheel is straight. So if the steering wheel is straight, then that means that there's more distance between the front of the tires than the rears, and so they're toed out. And then, so we could then adjust the toe until it is 0 or whatever we want it to be, and then we know that the car is ready to drive. So once you've got all of those things done, there's one thing left to do, which is to check your damper settings. So in the case of our fronts here, because they're inverted, the rebound setting is actually on the bottom here. And Cusco gives us this dial that we can slot in there. It shows if we turn it this way, that's for hard, this way is for soft. Typically when you want to check these, and usually an owner's manual will give you the number of clicks. So the first thing you need to know is how many clicks there are, but 2, just which direction it is. But usually tighter is hard, looser is soft. So righty-tighty is hard, lefty-loosey is to soften up the valving adjustment. What you pretty much always want to do is go to the hard side until it stops moving and then back it back off. So what you would do is you just turn the knob and count the clicks. You can hear the clicks pretty clearly. And then you would just count how many there are. You can basically go all the way to hard. So like if there's 12 clicks until the adjustment stops, then you're basically 12 clicks away from that, which on these I think would be about mid-range. And then make sure that everything is the same amount of clicks. And if it's not, get it to like usually someplace right in the middle of your range of adjustment is where you want to start. Then go from there, drive the car, see what it feels like, and then come back and make adjustments as needed. So that's basically what you want to address, what you want to look at when you're setting up coilovers. Ultimately here we're gonna get the thing set up enough so that we can go test drive it. Ultimately, we're going to get the car put on an alignment rack so that we know exactly what the settings are. And it's just going to be a lot more precise than what you can easily do in your garage. Then you know that the car is going to run straight, handle right. But we want to make sure that we got the right height set first before we hand it over, because that's something that alignment shops typically won't adjust. So yeah, do all that. Coilovers should work well. And this is something where there could be a couple iterations. You might want to change things here and there as far as how much camber you're running, what the toe setting is, things like that. It might take a few iterations until you find the perfect setup that you're happy with. But ultimately, these are all the adjustments the tools to adjust that you have to use. So hopefully that is helpful. Thanks very much for watching. Thanks for your support as always. Until next time, stay tuned with Flannery's Tuning.